UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of the Weekly Business Roundup with me, your host, Wadulo Mark Arnold. And without further ado, let's get straight into the big stories. We track parish development model funds from government coffers to the beneficiaries. Umeme enhances power connectivity in preparation for NAM and G77 plus China conferences. The Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries, along with PASAID, unveil plans to establish a food and agricultural authority. And on the international scene, we examine why the electric vehicles haven't taken off in 2023. And for these and more, stay tuned. It's time for business. Umeme is actively enhancing power connectivity in preparation for the upcoming NAM and G77 plus China conferences scheduled for mid-January 2024. Celestino Babunji, the managing director of Umeme, shared these developments during the end-of-year media engagement in Kampala.
NAM and G77 plus China conference are around the corner, and it's all hands on the desk for various key stakeholders. Umeme, a utility company involved in power distribution, is working around the clock to enhance power supply and reliability.
The conference facility will take not more than 5 MVA, 5 megawatts. For that one, we have built, there is a dedicated line of supply from Gaba to the conferencing facility. As we speak now, the teams are going through doing final maintenance works, strengthening the conductor, cutting vegetation. If you now pass via autospa and what, they are really cleaning up the line to ensure that nothing from a network failure perspective, unless there is another act of God, should let the power fail in terms of readiness. And also we are aware the conference facility has also expanded their generation capacity, their distribution capacity with new transformers, which again we have provided.
Celestino Babunji, the managing director of Umeme, highlighted the key infrastructure developments for NAM and G77. He was addressing the media on the status of the company and the electricity sector in 2023. According to Umeme, the key outcomes include recruitment and retooling of more than 500 technicians and revamping of the billing system.
We inherited 1,600 people from UE this year. Of those, we have less than 200 remaining, you see? So it means out of my 3,000 head count now, right, 2,800 have joined Umeme along the journey. So we have done a lot of capacity building. When we started, there was a lot of load shedding, okay? And I indicated in load shedding, inefficiencies, less generation, and so on. As we speak now, the generation is adequate to meet the existing demand, okay? We inherited 250,000 customers. Now we're approaching 2 million customers, okay? The sector used to build 1,000 gigawatt hours, 1,000 gigawatt hours, okay? That's 1 billion, 1 billion electricity units, okay? Now we are building 4 billion 200 million units, 4.2 gigawatt hours. So the sector has greatly expanded.
In anticipation of the government's initiative to provide free power connections to over 1 million new customers in 2024, Umeme has strengthened its manpower across the entire electricity connection value chain.
The same way government is projecting economic growth in excess of 5 percentage points, we are seeing for the third year growth of at 9% plus. When you compare the volume of power sold this year, 2023, to the volume of power sold in 2020, in the last 3 years, we are selling 30% more power than 2020. And there is always this debate which is on about, oh, we have excess generation or what. At this growth rate, we project that the existing supplies, including Karuma, will be out between 5 to 7 years, which is a good thing that you always have to have a buffer of up to 30% of generation, such as you grow demand, there's enough supply available.
In 2023, Umeme recorded a notable increase of 190,000 power connections, surpassing 2022 by about 70,000 connections. Umeme projects to make 70 to 100 billion capital investment in the network in 2024, subject to approval from the Electricity Regulatory Authority. Nasali Fatia, Juma Nsamba.
The Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development, PASAID, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries have joined forces to unveil Uganda's much-anticipated Food and Agricultural Authority. Now, this follows a cabinet approval on October 25th, 2023, for the establishment of an authority solely focused on matters related to food safety, standards, and regulations. The parliamentary approval has set in motion a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries, along with the Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development, working diligently to pave the way for the creation of the Food and Agricultural Authority.
So this authority will regulate all veterinary inputs, such that our policy and what we use to implement it are aligned. It will regulate food standards. UNBS, for clarity, is a general standards body, general. But the competent authorities, as Master rightly puts it, we shall be the one competent on food.
Initial efforts will involve strategic meetings to craft a comprehensive roadmap and principles, a task now entrusted to private consultants.
We were not aware that there was a lot of pressure to try to have these out earlier than planned. So we are going to sit down and see how best we can address the requirement and the concern. And we are going probably to have to redesign without compromising.
This commitment to establish a food safety authority includes extensive research and the establishment of food safety guidelines, among others.
Therefore, it's a breakthrough because we set out to deal with markets, standards, infrastructure, and export credit fund. Two of the things are now happening through these infrastructure changes and compliance standards.
The body will eventually will inherit the services of the Agricultural Chemicals Board. It is also going to inherit a big part of the Commissioner Animal Health and also Plant Health.
The consultants have been given an ambitious task of delivering the final principles to the Permanent Secretary by March 2024. As Uganda ventures into this uncharted territory, the Food and Agricultural Authority marks a pivotal moment, demonstrating the nation's commitment to meeting international standards and ensuring the safety and quality of its food and agricultural produce. Wadulo Arnold, UBC News in Kampala. Kampala's councillors representing the city's 5 divisions conducted a roads tour in the non-aligned movement corridors to evaluate progress following the recent council resolutions. Now, the roads inspected include Mokwano Road, Press Road, Gaba Road, Auto Spa Drainage Spot, among others.
Accompanied by the State Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs, Kabiecho Fatogabye, and the Deputy Executive Director, KCCA David Luyimbazi, the authority councillors embarked on a roads inspection tour to assess its progress and quality. Having inspected Mukwano Road, Press Road, Kawalagala and other roads, some councillors cited the slow pace at which the works are ongoing.
Inspect as council, because this was a council resolution. We started with Mokwano Road. The big problem I have with Mokwano Road is the the culverts are very, very small. They are very small and old school. Plus the drainage is so small and narrow. We know what happens to Mukano Road every time it rains. So we've engaged the engineer, and of course he's promised to make sure that they avail funds to make it bigger.
Bali mu repairinga ne bibakola byonna si birungi wabula okuleka wano okujja ku bridge yo bagezezzaako naye eri ekibuli eri wansi eri ku mukwano akola sibakamuyiwa mupya azeemu enjatuka tubagamba bino mugenda kola kibwale tugenda mujjawo ale tukuba ebiraka.
Minister Chofatogabi, however, remains optimistic, stating that the works are nearing completion for hosting the NAM and G77 Plus China Summit in January.
With the responsibility given to us, we are about 70 to 75% in terms of progress. So 25, because most of the areas they are just in the final touches, finishing up with the road curbs, drainages, and so on. But the biggest intended work, which was made for culverts and drainage crossing, have been done, and excavation has been done. And then the issues of beautification are being done.
He also highlighted efforts to address littering by providing dustbins in line with the presidential directive.
So the 25 is mainly in the dustbins and then finalizing the final touches. And I want to promise Ugandans that by the time the first visitors who arrive here, we shall have all the dustbins along the corridor as intended and as planned. And then we shall be embarking on other issues.
As the host of these international events, Kampala has been mandated to improve 10 major roads and drainage systems to enhance the city's appearance. Justin Nakami in Kampala.
In a dissection of the parish development model, the process by which funds leave the government coffers to reach the intended beneficiaries is unveiled. Let's have a look at this report. Sourced from the country's national revenue coffers, PDM funds from Bank of Uganda through commercial banks reach parishes across the nation on a quarterly basis.
So PDM and many of the other funds normally come to us through Bank of Uganda, which actually holds the consolidated fund. So there is a consolidated fund, a country fund, for which money is allocated. So this annual or quarterly allocation that comes through to the parishes is based on the original design of this model.
On December 14th, 2022, Postbank was the first to release funds to PDM beneficiaries in Kayunga. The entire process was digitized.
We shall also go ahead to give each circle a phone. That is commitment from us to make sure that whatever we see here can be done away from the banks.
Beneficiaries receive funds from the bank upon the assent of the group's chairperson. Each disbursement involves the identification of beneficiaries who are granted a grace period to repay the funds.
The period is 3 years for recovering it. We have agreed to recover it quarterly.
So these parishes are the recipients of the funds. And the parishes, there is an oversight model that is actually regulated by a committee. So we assist the parishes in terms of coming up with a committee. And part of our design and modeling over the years in working with groups, investment clubs, circles, village savings and loans associations, cooperatives, has been in terms of how do you put a framework that assists groups.
PDM has integrated a substantial number of previously unbanked individuals into the money economy.
For us, we opened an account from Centenary Bank. So afterward, after processing each and everything, we got that money through that bank.
However, challenges have emerged in the disbursement process. There are reports of individuals receiving amounts less than
issues of extortion and bribe seeking from PDM beneficiaries and change of lists by replacing eligible beneficiaries with ineligible ones are also reported.
First of all, they first came, collected 10,000 for opening an account. After that, they said the accounts have got lost. They should again give 20 and travel. And then the other thing which is defeating my understanding, that the lawyers want affidavits from these people. Affidavits for what? That if you have a thumbprint, you have to swear that I don't have a signature. For this reason, the lawyer has to be paid 20,000.
The delays in disbursement of funds by commercial banks have also been reported, and this regard, the government is working on mobile money solution to address this. New banking arrangements will also be communicated soon to ease access of funds to the beneficiaries that are far from the banking infrastructure.
As of June 2023, the disbursement of funds was at 63%, with notable contributions from Chisoro, Chiboga, Buyende, Mbarara City, Butaleja, Chiriandongo, and Rampara districts. Wadulo Arnold in Kampala. Leadership at the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda are calling upon the business community of Uganda and East Africa at large to register in taking part of the ESC Business Forum that will coincide with the 19th NAM and G77 plus China conferences between January 15th to the 18th of 2024.
There is going to be the NAM and G77 summits, which will take place in Munyonyo, and the Business Forum, which we are directly charged with, that will take place here at this Serena Conference Center, and it is an East African Investment and Business Forum. So we are working closely with our counterparts in the region, with the business community in the region. Charity begins at home. We are advancing the East African community as one destination for tourism, as one destination for businesses, so that these opportunities trickle down to the rest of the citizens of the East African community.
What we are just telling the business, the community out there, that Uganda is ready for the 2 summits, and you, the business people, because this is the side of the business forum. There's a link that the Vice Chair has talked about, that which has been shared, and it's also going to be shared more and more, so that you register on and you get to participate in the event. It's not going to be, because it's quite critical that it will not just be as we just walk in and come out. No, we have to have registration, and there's going to be accreditation into this.
That Uganda is not beginning from zero. It already has products. So what we need is partnership from those people who are for advanced technologies to come and invest with us, partner with our people to raise the levels of standards for our products, to co-invest with them, and also to identify the products which they will be able to see here. If they find that maybe it is not meeting the standards, how best can they be able to also team up with us? And then, like we said, that will be very critical for us. So we are really saying Uganda already has these products and want to be able to send them to the Global South. And like I said, the Global South now is one of the major markets for us, because when you talk about the Global South, you are adding China, which is coming along on these 2 summits. China is attending both the NAM and the G77.
And on the continental scene, competition among electric vehicle producers was supposed to push prices down to make 2023 the year of the electric vehicle. But that hasn't been the case. Prices are still high, and the subsidy picture is unclear. DW unwrapped the story.
Well, to find out why, Gregor Sebastian joins me now for a closer look. He's a senior analyst at Rhodium Group. Gregor, good to talk with you as always. This wasn't the breakthrough year for EVs that many had hoped for. Why is that?
No, it wasn't the breakthrough year. We haven't, overtaken ICE sales in any of the major markets. But to be frank, it also hasn't been a catastrophic year. We've seen EV growth in all the major markets. And I think the reason why we are not quite at that break-even point is related to the battery production, right? At the moment, the battery production is still very much concentrated on a handful of players, all located in East Asia. And I think when we're going to really see the breakthrough is maybe in 2 to 3 years, when all the battery plants, which is really the main ingredient of electric vehicles, are coming online, are starting production in markets like North America and Europe.
I was telling the General and the Ambassador, look at the single issue of how we relate on the question of the African growth opportunity AGOA. Kenya has now signed in bilaterally. We have bypassed Uganda. We are undermining each other instead of working as East African community on the single question of second-hand clothing. Rwanda have decided, Uganda have decided, and we have agreed under AGOA that we are going to continue to import. So I was telling the General, all the Rwandan importers, Ugandan importers will be importing through Kenya, so the problem will not be solved. And weakness is not about size. The Democratic Republic of Congo is as large as Western Europe, but institutions are weak. Institutions are therefore easy to manipulate. And we recognize that you can be strong when you leverage on where you are weak and where we are strong. And Africa must do that sooner rather than later.
In our Sounds of Business, we take you to MMP Industrial Park, located in Buyikwe, Central Region of Uganda. This private industrial park is where some local steel and rubber products in Uganda come from. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Weekly Business Roundup with me, your host, Wadulo Mark Arnold. Stay tuned for the year 2023 business wrap-up next week and endeavor not to miss it. Otherwise, thank you very much. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold once again, and catch us next time.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Come and shine in Blascon Paint and win the Twake edition. Buy Blascon Paint worth 100,000 shillings. Get a scratch card and SMS the code to 7197. Not only will you win instant airtime, but you could take home 1 million shillings daily, a share of 4 million shillings each week, or a brand new motorbike with fuel worth 100,000 shillings. Terms and conditions apply. Blascon, color your world.
I got it. What do you mean you got it? Have you won a lottery?
Yes, this is kind of like a lottery to me.
Let me see. But these are your receipts now.
Yes, exactly my point. See, I had tax areas that had accumulated for a while now, and I was burdened by the penalties and the interest. But guess what? All I had to do was to pay my principal tax, and now I'm free.
What?
Yes.
How? I mean, it's impossible.
It's possible. The government has done it. Yes, the government has given a chance to all taxpayers to pay their outstanding principal tax that accrued until 30th of June with no interest or penalties.
But now they're really...
Imagine, yes! So yeah, all you have to do is simply pay your principal tax and enjoy the waiver on penalties and interest. And this goes up to the end of December 2023.
How do I do that to also enjoy the waiver?
All you have to do is simply pay your principal tax to benefit from waiver on interests and penalties that runs till end of December 2023. Pay your outstanding principal tax using the available payment channels, or simply dial *285# or visit the nearest URA office for guidance before 31st December 2023. Remember, this chance comes only once.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
In this family, we can't agree on anything.
Martha.
We can't even agree on what to watch. All the games to play.
Martha.
Ndoza Mulabi, we can't even agree on what to eat. At least the one thing for now we can all agree on is the soap to use. He likes that it's big and lasts long. Anti-economy. I like that it keeps my skin smooth. Ate alina echovu. And the children like that. It smells amazing. Everyone is happy. Movit soap comes in 4 fantastic flavors. Movit family soap is truly soap for the whole family.
Movit. All day confidence.
It's bigger and better. The Old Boys and Girls of Gulu Public School present the 5th edition of the Alumni Reunion Party with the theme, We Are the Bridge, Our Past, Present and the Future. The reunion will take place on the 30th of December 2023 at the Gulu Public School with so many activities aligned, starting with the prayer, annual meeting, car wash, nyama choma, entertainment. So don't miss. For more information, call 0772 529 700.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.